Hey you pooper scoopers, and welcome back. 90 Day The Last Resort just came out with the second season. The first episode came out on Monday and I was so excited to watch it. And you can tell that they put a lot more oomph or whatever into this season. So this episode alone was already an hour and a half, and I swear 20 minutes of it was just like cinematic shots, just like drone shots of like the pool and them walking in, and like it got real theatrical. And they were even adding in filters, and I don't know if they usually do this and they just do a good job of hiding it well. In this one, the filters were going crazy. I didn't even realize they used filters, but they had like a beauty filter on Sophie at one part, and they had like a filter on somebody's legs on another, and it was just going crazy. But yeah, they put a lot more into the season, and I am so excited to watch it. So they begin with their little montage of all the couples traveling to the resort together, and the only people that aren't going together are Natalie and Josh. I don't know why they're here, but Josh already lives in Arizona where the resort is, so he kind of just drives there, and I think she still lives in California. They have their whole montage of everybody getting there, and when Rob and Sophie are on the plane, Sophie has this like tri-headed dog. I know there's a name for the dog. I can't remember. Let me look it up. Hold on. Okay, that's what it is. Cerberus, the tri-headed dog. I don't know if it's Cerberus specifically, but she had a little plushie of a little dog with 3 heads on it. I want it. Go ahead and mail that over to me. Get me one, buy me one, mail it over to me. Thank you. Now they even have a whole montage of people arriving to the front desk to get their room. And I don't know why they did this to this poor lady, because the front desk lady, I don't know if that's like the regular person that works there or if she's an actress or whatever, but she was uncomfortable. But the first people to come in are Jazz and Gino. Now in their talking head, they come right out with it, because I think in the tell-all and Happily Ever After, they went out and said that they did meet on a sugar baby website. So in this season, like literally the first thing that they get out is that they met on a sugar baby, sugar daddy website. But they say that they're coming here to this resort because it's their last resort, basically, that they're coming at close to a divorce because they hate each other at this point. I'm sure they do. And Jasmine shows that pretty quickly. Like, she ends up making Gino roll their bags down to the room instead of getting a bellhop. They even offered to get somebody to roll their bags down there, and she's like, nah, Gino's got it. So she makes them roll the bags down, and then when they get to the room, at first it looks like she's holding the door open for him, but the minute he gets to the door, she just lets it go and it shuts on him. And then they start talking about their sleeping arrangements, because they haven't been sleeping in the same bed, which has been the same problem that they had on Happily Ever After. But Jasmine was telling him he could sleep outside, and he's like, with the bugs? With the snakes? And she's like, with the venomous?
I mean...
Snakes.
Venomous?
They're snakes. In
Venomous?
Phoenix. Rattlesnakes.
But they are venomous.
Yes.
Yeah, you should sleep outside.
I'm probably never gonna say venomous correctly ever in my life again, because venomous? That just sounds better coming off the tongue. Venomous? Now the next person to arrive is Natalie, and like I said before, Josh already lives in Arizona, so he just drove up there, and she's driving up there in her own car, or well, the producers are driving her up there anyway, and she's straight up just like, I would move here for the right guy. Arizona's so pretty. But of course she's talking about Josh. She goes on to say that they have been on and off for 3 years, but she's never even seen this guy's house. I don't understand like how you think you've been in such like a committed relationship with somebody that you haven't even seen their house. Like, I can understand him like keeping his kids out of the situation, because that's a whole different situation, but he don't trust you enough to even let you see his house. He's like, oh hell no, you gonna pull up and break my windows or something. Like, I swear every single time I'm probably gonna talk about Natalie and Josh and be like, why are they here? But they say the reason that they are here is because they're trying to figure out if they want to be committed or not. And Josh says everything is basically sucks. She's crazy, but the physical intimacy is on point. So it's basically what I've been saying. Like, it's just like, you guys are just hooking up type. Well, he's hooking up with her, and I think she's taking it more seriously. After 3 years, though, I think maybe they do need to be here. Maybe they do need to be here now that I think about it. But Josh says that he wants to see if he could give Natalie a chance, see if they can be committed, because something very tragic happened to him and his family.
Recently, when Natalie and I were not together, my son was in a very serious accident. His friend lost his life, and my son lost his leg.
And he explains that during this time, Natalie was there for him, and she actually does have a sweet side to her. Now, when they're walking to go get their room keys to go get checked in, I just want to point this out because it comes up later. She thinks the grass is real, and she's like, oh, this is such pretty grass out here. And Josh explains to her that it's fake grass. She's like, oh, that's interesting. So I just want you to remember that for later. It's crazy that something as small as fake grass is going to be brought up later, but this girl is crazy. But they go ahead and get checked in, and I swear TLC stirring the drama the minute they get a chance. But when they're checking in, the lady at the desk is like, oh, I've seen you've been here before, Josh, which... it is a resort, so Natalie is looking at him like, who have you been here with? Actually, not just looking at him, she straight up asked him, who were you here with? He says that he was only here by himself because the airport is close, even though he already lives in Arizona. He lying. He is straight up lying. Now, the next couple to arrive is Stacy and Florian. Now, this whole time, we don't get much from Florian at all. He doesn't believe in therapy or anything like that. He is completely happy with himself. So I feel like for this episode anyway, like all the talking was pretty much from her. Like what was going on in the relationship, like all the problems was just from her. The only time we got any discussion out of him was like when he was like, oh, Stace, come on, Stace. So Stacy goes on to explain that her and Florian have been having some problems recently and that some trust issues have been popping up again. Years ago, Florian had some cheating scandal. Florian was talking to some chick. Some chick ended up sending Stacy all these like texts and pictures and things like that. It was a whole thing. So out of that, Stacy has some trust issues, and I guess recently Stacy had kidney disease, so she had to go in, get surgery, and I guess her whole time that she was healing, she was going through that process, he was out partying, being gone, hanging out with friends, wouldn't come home until like 5 in the morning, and I guess one day he came in and there was makeup on his shirt. It flipped a switch there and was like, this guy is cheating, he's flirting, like, and I guess he's even flirting in front of her. So we have yet to know if it's just Stacy being dramatic or Florian's really flirting. I think he was really flirting in front of her, maybe because something happens later, and maybe I'm just crazy. You guys let me know. Now, the next couple to come in is Rob and Sophie, and I don't have much to say about them other than this intro. Literally the first frame, like, y'all, you guys are doing too much. But to sum it all up, they're still having the same issues, with Sophie having trust issues with Rob from online cheating like years ago, like from when they first got on 90 Day Fiancé. So it's like, ugh. But Rob does say that after this resort thing, he's moving back to LA because they moved to Texas, but he wants to go back to LA. So he's leaving, and if Sophie wants to come, she can come, but if not, then he's leaving regardless, whether she says yes or no. And he said he also has a secret. So 90 Day loves to have some secrets. They love to be like, and I got a secret. And it's like 90% of the time, it's not even that great of a secret. It's so aggravating. Just tell us. Now, the next couple to come in is Brandon and Julia, and they didn't really get too much into their issues. I feel like the biggest thing about them is that they're just two different people. Like Julian, I almost try to mash them together. Brandon and Julian. Julia is more of like a partier. She was a go-go dancer in Russia, so she wants to be out there, where Brandon is more a farm boy. He wants to live with his mom. They're completely different, so I think that's the problem. Brandon says their issue right now is that he wants to have kids and she doesn't want to have kids, so they're kind of at a standstill in their relationship right now. Not just relationship, marriage. Now, the next person to arrive is Ari, and she is without Binny, but she says they're here because Binny has been cheating and she just wants to fix their relationship for her children. But there's just like a lot of stuff going on in their relationship, just like a crazy amount of stuff. But Ari says that Binny has been cheating and she has proof of it. Now that everybody has arrived other than Binny, it is time for TLC to get these people drunk. Okay, that's all that they want to do, is liquor these people up to, you know, heighten those emotions, get somebody swinging on somebody. But the first people to come in is Stacy and Florian. They get their drinks, they stand there and wait, and the next people to arrive after them is Julia. And Florian already wants to start some crap.
But who you hate?
I don't have who I hate, but last
Who
time
you know like
with
it?
Natalie, we have
Yeah, she had a little
arguments.
thing with Natalie.
And Julia goes on to explain that she and Natalie aren't that cool with each other. Well, she doesn't like Natalie at all because she feels like Natalie used Mike for a green card, and they even had like a blow up on one of the tell-alls. Then the next person to arrive is Ari, and they don't really say much. Ari just says that she's in therapy. She's been in therapy, so if anybody needs help, she's got it. And this is where Florian is like, oh, I don't need this therapy. I'm perfect. And then the next people to arrive is Josh and Natalie. And as Julia was explaining, her and Natalie don't like each other. So Florian starts some more shit.
Natalie, I miss you so bad.
Cut the cameras. Deadass.
It's like him and what was that dude's name on the tell-all when they were living in the house? Thais's husband, Patrick, I think. Him just like bringing up stuff just to cause drama. But so this makes Julia and Natalie have to, you know, say something to each other. So they actually end up going off to the side and talking to each other. And Natalie's, I'm gonna say it, I don't care. I would have drugged this. I would have drugged this bitch. Not drug, not the Cosby, but you are we on the same level right here? But let me just tell you what this bitch is, okay? So Julia comes up to her all nice and casual. Hey, you wanna go talk over there? And Natalie's like, yeah, sure. And then she's like, oh, are you pregnant? And Julia's like, no. And then she's like, oh yeah, you're looking fat. Like, excuse me?
Как у тебя дела?
Все хорошо, как ты?
Честно, давай
Ты
начнем.
беременна или нет?
Нет.
Ты так поправилась?
Cut the cameras. Deadass.
Okay, maybe I have been maybe maybe I was a little dramatic, but that was just disrespectful. I could never. Who says that to somebody? I swear. But somehow, even after that, I would have got my jolly ass up and walked away. But somehow after that, they made bad peace. They came to an agreement to just be cordial, basically. And the next people to arrive is Gino and Jasmine. And then Natalie goes and is just disrespectful some more. She asked Jasmine straight up, is your ass natural? Or like, okay, maybe I'm like giving her an attitude, but it's like, it's just the words that she's saying is getting under my skin. She asked Jasmine, is her butt natural or she got a procedure or whatever. For some reason, Jasmine lied and said that it was natural, that she worked it out that way. Did she get her implants taken out her butt or what happened? Didn't she get a BBL? I mean, was she trying to hide that? I swear she said. Yeah. And then Rob and Sophie enter, and Natalie's disrespectful one more goddamn time. Not even one more time, because she just continues to be disrespectful. But this time, I'm glad she didn't say it in the presence of the person, because she is just doing too much. But what she says in her talking head is a little bit foreshadowing, and it kind of made me like, oh.
I think Sophie wants to be sexy and she likes to draw attention. But if she's sexy, I think you know better. Is she sexy?
Next question. See ya.
Now that everybody's here and people are mingling, getting close, this is what I was bringing up earlier about the Florian and the flirting thing. We see Ari and Florian off to the side. She's just telling him how Benny has been like cheating and how she's just sad and their marriage is obviously falling apart. That's what they're all here for. Everybody is falling apart. So they're talking and I don't know, he just seemed like a little too close, and the things that he was saying, he's like, I just want you to be happy, and the way that he was staring at her. And then he even does more things later on that makes it weird. But even right after that, after their little conversation, they all have a toast and they're all kind of standing next to, you know, their person. But Stacy and Florian are across from each other and he's with Ari and he's like gripping her shoulder and stuff like that. I know you can be friendly, but with all the allegations and the way he was looking at her, I was like, Now Benny finally arrives as they're all hanging out, and his entrance was so douchey. I understand you're on a show and I understand you're like a stunt performer or whatever he is, but like he came in like it was a wrestling I don't even know, like he did like a whole spin and stuff. Like, get to your destination, sir, what are you doing? And then when he entered, he came in, he was like,
What's up? The man. Las Vegas boys here.
Turn your big ass around and get the fuck back to your fucking seat. The fuck is wrong with your ashy ass?
I think he expected everybody to be like, just losing their shit. But then when he comes in, he's hugging everybody, like giving them actual hugs. And then he gets to Ari, his wife, and he goes to give her a handshake. I don't care what kind of problems you guys have. I don't care if Benny was cheating. I don't care if Ari was driving you crazy and being controlling. At the end of the day, you guys do have children with each other and you guys are still technically married. You can't even do like a little side hug, like nothing. And then she tries to get him to hug her, and it was just making me, I just hated watching it because it just made me feel some type of ways. Like, but to set them to the side really quick, this information that's about to come up, I did not expect. So you know how earlier Natalie was grilling Josh about Sophie? Well, Sophie lets us in on a little bit of information. Apparently, Josh, you know how like you post a picture on Instagram, whatever, and like when you message them, you could put like little heart emojis or whatever. So he was doing that, kind of testing the waters, being like, ooh girl, heart emoji on a booty picture, and like DMing her just to like test the waters a little bit. And I guess her and Rob were like, hey, let's see what this guy really wants. So she replied to him, and then this dude invited her to Vegas.
A man has been like messaging me on Instagram. He started like sending me emojis to like me, like my body pictures. When he was like, I'm going to Vegas, you should come with me on my flight. And I was like, oh, I can't.
Where about Joseph?
Why would he come? Why would he come to Vegas?
Oh my god.
So the whole time Natalie talking crap about Reno, your dude over there in Sofarino's DMarinos. Like, that is that I already knew Josh was a fuckboy. I already knew he was just fucking around with Natalie. I knew nothing was ever going to be serious between them. That's not what surprises me. What surprises me is Josh was dumb enough to message somebody on the same television show as the chick he's messing around with. Like, it's either he really just does not care and he's like, F it, shoot all the shots that I have, or he's just dumb and didn't think this was gonna like wrap around back to Natalie. I don't know. I kind of feel like Natalie already may know just because of the snarky remarks, but also she was snarkily remarking everybody. So, but back to Ari and Binny. Ari and Binny are still arguing, whatever. It literally the whole episode on their thing is the same thing over and over again, and I'm now realizing why I probably skipped their segments or don't remember them or whatever. They start to argue, and then he starts asking for his social media accounts. I guess when they separated or whatever happened, she decided to change all the passwords on his social media accounts. Apparently she was his manager for his social media accounts, so technically they're kind of hers, I guess. Is that how that works? Like if you're the manager and you're the one managing the social media anyway? But she said she did all this because of the cheating stuff, and then that she has proof of him cheating, and they even put a picture up of him. He's basically kissing this woman. I don't care what anybody says. There may not be full on contact, but this right here is definitely cheating. And the whole time he's like, I did not cheat. Who was cheating? And he is sticking to that story. So I'm starting to think that maybe, just maybe, they may have been like separated and they're like, we're not together. Like, yeah, we're still married because legally we're just married, but we're not together. And then he went out and did something with somebody. So that could be the thing. And she's tripping on it because they're still married technically. But at the same time, she did pack her and her kids up and moved to Ethiopia, and he was still in Vegas. So the whole situation is crazy. But the whole thing between them is he just wants his social media and she just wants him to admit that he was cheating, and neither one of them are doing what each other wants. So they're just at a standstill, and they argue about this literally to the very end of this episode anyway. I hope it's not the whole season. He was even begging for his social media. Like, he just kept asking for it over and over again. But eventually Ari just finally got up and she walked away, and she's in the back crying. And Florian, what are you doing? Florian pops up out of nowhere once again, and please tell me if I'm crazy, because maybe I just don't know how to read signals or something. He comes over and he's basically like, oh, I just want you to be happy. He's like holding her hand and like stroking her fingers and like a certain, and I know you can be friendly and like comfort somebody, but like, I don't know, it was just giving me those vibes of like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it just seemed a little too close. And then Stacy popped up out of nowhere and was like, we gotta go to therapy, we gotta go. And he kind of just like dipped out really quick. Now everybody gets to the group therapy, and the only person I recognize is the Schmeck's therapist. They bring in two new therapists. One's a hypnotherapy therapist, hypnotherapist, and the other one is a behavior therapist. And I'm kind of sad that we're not going to see any like past life regression stuff. I really wanted to see what Gino was in his past life, but hopefully the sleep one kind of gets me somewhere, you know. And the therapist, before they get into it, they explain to them that they have 3 weeks to get their relationship figured out, and they're going to have a recommitment ceremony at the end of those 3 weeks, and they can decide if they want to still be with each other at the end of those 3 weeks. Now, I'm going to go into the therapy session, and I'm going to talk about each person's points, but I'm not going to say what the therapist said. First of all, this is their very first day, so they're still just trying to figure out what's wrong with the couples and the marriages. So the whole time they weren't really saying much of anything. Like, somebody would tell them their problem, and then one therapist was like, sounds like you guys need a change. And it's like, yeah, duh. And then another person would say something, it's like, sounds like you're sad. And it's like, duh. And then another person would say something, and then they would just be like, oh, so this is what you said. And then they would just repeat what they said. So they literally had dick for us. They weren't saying anything. Now we'll start with Julian and Brandon. Brandon explains to them that they're at a standstill in their marriage because he wants kids and she doesn't. And it sucks because before they got married, they had a whole conversation. They spoke about it. They both wanted kids, but now she's at a point in her life where she doesn't. And because of that, now they have no Schmeck's life, like, whatsoever. And she tries to swerve that conversation and even says, like, that's too much to even be talking about right now. But they're like, nope, keep talking about it. So she goes into saying that he doesn't understand, and she's always mad at him because she's homesick, she misses her family, and he's not understanding her. He's not, just being there for her, so she's just mad at him all the time, and she definitely does not want any kids right now. Now we move on to Jasmine and Gino, and of course it's the same exact problems they've always had. Gino is always offended or sad about something that Jasmine has said, so he is not giving up any intimacy, so she's freaking out, and it's just like a big slosh of the same thing over and over again. And when they're having that conversation, this is what I was talking about with the filters. Am I tripping? It's like her face is like blurry. What are they doing? Is this something new that they're trying out, or have they always used filters and I've just never noticed until now? But back to Jasmine and Gino. Like I said, they're having the same issues, but Gino says that one night she ended up leaving and was gone and like didn't come back for a couple days, and apparently she won't tell him where she was. She just said that she was at a friend's house, but he's just not accepting that answer. And Jazz goes on to say that the reason that she disappeared and was gone was because she was with a friend, because she just can't stand being around Gino any longer, that there's no affection in their relationship whatsoever, to the point where it's now been 8 months since they've had schmecks. We move on to Rob and Sophie, and again, same issues. He explains that he online cheated years ago and she's not yet over it, and she says that they're just so unhappy, and honestly, this is literally the last resort for them. If they don't make it out of this, they're done. Like, that's all they have left is this little 3 weeks. Now, you remember that fake grass scene? Well, it comes into play now. It is Natalie and Josh's turn, and Natalie goes on to explain that she gave 3 years of her life to him and she needs answers. And she feels like their relationship is like fake grass.
I think I sacrifice a lot, and I think I deserve to have some answers. It feels like grass in Arizona. It doesn't feel like rocks.
Now, Josh says that he hasn't committed or taken anything further because anytime they do get to a point where they get back together, they start dating, things start building up, and it is getting to a certain point, she starts having expectations of what things are supposed to be, but they're not that way. So she ends up blowing up, freaking out, which we've seen a billion times from her, so we understand what he's talking about. She just freaks out, so it just ends up just stopping everything right there, and they start from ground zero once again. Now, I'm not the only one that sees right through Josh and is just like, he's never gonna go anywhere with her. Even Jasmine and Gino say something about it, and somehow it gets into the conversation of Gino having nice nipples. I don't know how it got there.
When you look at Josh, he's not looking at your eyes, he's looking at your boobs.
I don't have very big ones, but I have nice nipples.
Brother,
Now we go to Stacy and Florian, and again, Florian really doesn't say much. So Stacy just explains that they're having trust issues pop up again, that he's disappearing, not coming home until like 5 a.m, and they even show the picture of some makeup being on his shirt. Not even right there and then, but in the talking head, he tries to just say, oh, people are drunk and somebody could have hit me, which is like, the whole situation does make sense if somebody bump into you, they're wearing makeup, yeah, but I don't know, with the way Florian was kind of holding Ari, I don't know. But she just explains that she can't trust him right now, and with him being so dismissive and not really talking, I bet you it's hard to kind of get any information out of him. Now we get to Ari and Biniyam, and again, Ari just says that he's cheating. He's like, nope, I'm not cheating. I just want my social media. And that's that. So they wrap it all up, and the therapist tells them to come back tomorrow in some comfy shoes. So I'm guessing they're going to go on some type of hike or something like that. Now they all head back to their rooms, and they give us a little peek into what they discuss after their therapy session. They start out with Jasmine and Gino, and they obviously are just screaming at each other already. They're just yelling at each other.
Now answer my question.
Stop.
You're trying to dodge my question.
I
So
was
answer. Where were you?
at a friend's house having fun.
So you're saying you were with a guy? So if that's the case, we shouldn't even be at therapy. We should just be done. You're saying you cheated on me?
Don't ask questions of things you don't want to know.
No.
And I'm pretty sure she said that because, I don't know, maybe she could have done something, but you know how Jasmine is. She just be saying stuff to like make him feel some kind of way. So I think that's what that was. Now we get to Ari and Binny, and I'm gonna skip all through all this because they are just going back about him cheating and him wanting his social. Literally, she's like, just admit you're cheating. And he's like, no, give me my social media. And she's like, I will if you admit you're cheating. And they just keep going back and forth on that. But the one thing that I want to point out is the whole time they're arguing, she's eating, and I don't know what's in the salad to make it that crummy, but like there was just stuff on her face, it just like the whole time, and I was like, please just stop eating. Like, how do you eat at a time like this? Like, not even, it was just the crumbs all over her face were like driving me crazy. It's like, do you not feel that on your face? How can you have a serious conversation when you have food all over your face? But anyway, she ends up kicking him out and he goes and gets his own room, or the producers do anyway. And that was the end of the first episode. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for the rest of the season. Like, just the first episode was so good. Like, I loved it. Well, I'm being dramatic right now. It was good. I can't sit here and say that I loved it. Like, God, let me get the hell off of this goddamn. But let me go ahead and go over what's to happen in the season. They give us a little what's to come, not just for the next episode, but all of the season.
So what I have for you guys is my little kinky playground.
Natalie grabbed Rob's arm and was like, oh, your tattoos are so hot.
You would do really well with some family therapy.
Darcy! But I found out he's still messaging other women trying to have sex with them.
Wow! Bro, I'm done. I'm done. This I'm done.
I didn't kick her out, man. Yes. You got the story wrong, bitch.
Bitch, who are you telling, bitch?
You got the story wrong.
Let's keep the story straight, man.
Let's keep it straight, guys. Come on. I'm not gonna take your
up.
I'm excited. I'm so excited for this season. I don't know why I like this stuff so much. I'm glad you guys like it too, because I need to talk to somebody about it. And I feel like if I go to work or talk to my family about this, they're going to look at me crazy. No, my mom actually does watch this too. She's the one that got me into 90 Day. She showed me this back in high school, and since then I've been hooked. Thank you, Madre. I appreciate that. I appreciate you dragging me down into this hell with you. But thank you guys for sitting in this hellhole with me too. Honestly, it's kind of fun, not even gonna lie. And again, I'm so excited to watch the rest of the season, and I hope you guys are too, because I will be here talking about it every single week, yapping about it. So now I promise I'm not this weird. I think I just had too much caffeine, and you know, if you are okay with dealing with this, might as well go ahead and hit the like and subscribe, because this is probably going to happen again. Not even gonna lie. But as always, thank you guys for coming and watching. It's always appreciated. You guys have a beautiful day. Bye.